All right, Nick, cheers. Welcome to our
Cheers.
team at Calabash.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm here to ask you a few questions about yourself, really, and just so that our audience and our guests can get to know you as you've just joined us a couple of weeks ago. First question I guess I should ask you is, what inspired you to become a chef?
I watched a lot of cooking shows as a kid. Actually, I used to watch a lot of soap operas and cooking shows. I know. It's Days of Our Lives, Young and the Restless. Sadly, my parents were not great at cooking, but they were always very supportive of getting me groceries and getting things for me to make that I'd seen on a TV show, and I would just make it, and things just kind of worked. Like I was just apt at cooking, and it came natural. And then when I was in my teens, my dad's construction company built a hotel in Vancouver, and I was familiar with the chef who was going to work there, and he was quite famous in Canada, and he finagled me in to work on the weekends there. That chef ended up sort of taking me under his wing and, you know, kind of putting me in touch with the right people and guiding me. He was a really strong mentor to me, and still is, you know, to this day.
How old were you?
16,
Wow.
and the rest was history.
So did you go to college and things
No,
like that?
no.
You just started working?
I went to
kitchen
university
work?
actually for microbiology.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I found that a bit too dry.
So it's all on-the-job training, mainly.
I did like a traditional apprenticeship, so
Yeah.
it's a 4-year program. And
What's your favorite thing to cook? What cuisine? Another loaded question.
that's-
A hard
well-
one to ask any chef.
it's a question that I get asked a lot as well. I don't have a favorite food to cook. I just like cooking. To be honest with you, I like being challenged in the kitchen. I find that more interesting than to come up with something or to make something a little bit different or exceed people's expectations. But as far as like, do I like Italian or French or Japanese? I just don't have one. I just like it all.
Just cooking in
I
general.
just like cooking, yeah. Yeah.
And you've done a lot in your career. You've worked in many restaurants, even on
Yep.
cruise ships as well, and also stages in Michelin star restaurants. What has been your favorite place that you've worked in, you know, in that learning phase of your life? What really left a mark with you?
This is going to sound like a canned response, but I would have to say all of them, because throughout my career I've always chosen jobs that have provided me with certain tools or skills or knowledge that I didn't have before, so I feel now that I'm a very well-rounded person because of it.
Your CV is massive, from Taiwan to places in
All over
Europe
the
and
place,
Canada.
I think Asia was one of my, well, I mean, I spent a long time there, so.
Yeah. Well, you know, you've been in the culinary world for so long. What trends are you looking forward to right now? What do you see that's really popular that you want to try and maybe get stuck into yourself?
Plant-based is always popular, sustainable cooking is always popular. Food trends are funny to me because things just kind of ebb and
Coming
flow.
back around, yeah.
Things just come in and out of fashion.
Yeah.
I mean, very similar to like how fashion is, right? Styles and trends just come around again, and it's the same with food.
If you could be a fly on the wall in any kitchen in the world, do you have an answer for this one?
I do. If I could be a fly on the wall of any kitchen, I'd rather not have a kitchen with flies. So I would hope that the pest control would get me. But aside from that, it would probably be a restaurant in Copenhagen called Geranium. I just have a lot of respect for that chef because of what he's accomplished in his career. He's had 3 Michelin stars for a long time. There's a competition in France called the Bocuse d'Or. I believe he's the only chef to win a bronze, silver, and gold. And that happens
That's
every 4 years.
impressive. Yeah.
So.
Where's your favorite restaurant in any part of the world?
Actually my friend's restaurant in Bali is called Kuka. I like that restaurant for a variety of different reasons, but mainly because he also has like a really local style of cooking. He uses a lot of local products and prepares them in certain ways, and I just like his
I
philosophy.
think that's an important way of looking at food, definitely when you're on an island.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
like,
critical
looking at what you
nowadays.
can make use of the most here. And
Yeah, I cook in a very similar style, and so that's why that restaurant to me is one of my favorites.
a hot tip here, he has a lovely dessert on a take of a crunchy bar with a local chocolate.
Yeah.
Watch out for that one.
Yeah,
It's a good one. In terms of ingredients that you use, what do you think is something that a home cook or anybody really should not skimp on? What should they spend that extra dollar on?
That's a tough one. I guess it depends what you're making. I don't know so much about the ingredients, but the techniques that people use when they cook. I always try to explain it to our staff, like making sure that you're seasoning things every step of the way, because a dish is like a book. And if you miss a chapter in a book, the book doesn't make sense. And so when you have a dish and you haven't seasoned it properly, you haven't taken all those proper steps, that dish doesn't make sense anymore. And so my approach to food is making sure that it's done the proper technique. You can have the best ingredients, but if your technique is poor, that shows through in the final
Yeah.
product. So
Well, Nick, thank you very much for letting us know a little bit more about you.
happy to be here and happy to be part of the team.
Down it.
That's the spirit.